Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man Cinema. Sit down, we're getting back to the chair, as they say. I don't think anybody says that, so I guess as I say. I'm getting ready to head home for pretty much the majority of the week. It'll be the rest of today, Wednesday through Sunday. My parents and my brother and sister are down in Ocean City, Maryland. As much as I would love to go join them down there for a day or two, that's a bit of a hike for a day or two, and I can't really take extra time off work because I just came off like a long stretch following the fish weekend. So I'm trying to get a bunch of reviews in, so I got some stuff that I can edit without having to do everything shooting at home. I love my parents' house, but the lighting there is terrible. They got a lot of yellow lights, and I don't know, the vibe just doesn't feel the same when it's this or, just the gray and white dullness of my couch. But hey, we have a lot of fun over on the couch with all the stuff that we're always watching. So I figured, let's sit down, let's bang out some reviews. And I got one for you today that I didn't really know anything about until I just saw it pop up on Apple TV Plus the first Friday. Very rare that I'm on Apple TV Plus on my own accord, because I usually got to flip over to my Roku for that. So I happened to be on it, and it happened to be like the Friday that this came out, and I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was like, oh my god, yes, this show is everything that I want right now in my life. And the reason I clicked play was because of its 2 leads, Taron Egerton and Paul Walter Hauser, 2 guys that I absolutely love, that are so freaking tremendously talented, and specifically in this show. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat, we are getting ready to dive in, spoiler free, into Blackbird. And yeah, man, I'm telling you, I am so glad I found this show, because this is not something that I knew was coming. I feel like maybe my mom had mentioned that she had seen Egerton pushing something or promoting something for Apple TV or a new show that he was in. I didn't know anything going in, and the story here is fascinating. This is based on a true story of a young Jimmy Keene who... basically his father was a police officer, a well-respected police officer, I want to say in Ohio or Iowa, somewhere up there. But Keene opted, after kind of bailing on football, kind of leaned into becoming a drug dealer. And he gets busted. If you couldn't tell, he's clearly in a prison. This picture, but he gets busted, and because they find weapons, they're able to send him to prison. And basically, they coax him into a plea deal that they know the judge won't give the minimum of. So Keene thinks he's going to jail for 5 years, and they end up sending him in for 10, which is not great for him or his dad. They both kind of lose their minds in the show, not legitimately, but in that moment, you basically got hustled. And then the FBI takes that hustle, and a week or so later, twist it into they kind of pin Jimmy Keene as somebody they could use to help try to nail this guy who's in prison, coming up on an appeal that he's most likely going to win. And you end up giving him this offer to go into a maximum security prison where the mentally insane are. The worst of the worst types of killers. When you find out what Larry Hall is being accused of, which is murdering a lot of young girls. You're throwing a guy who could do gen pop in a normal prison, no problem. One of the reasons they go after Keene is because he's able to interact and deal with all the gangs in the area. He's super charming and charismatic and likable. And it's one of those things where it's you got this villain that's really easy to root for, because Keene's energy is not evil. You know what I mean? It's just a kid who found a way to make a living, and he's trying to be good, but you get your hands dirty, you end up in a bad place. But because of that nature, it makes him ideal as a candidate to go in here and befriend this guy, Larry Hall, to try to get a confession out of him. And that's basically the baseline of Blackbird. You pretty much spend the entire series with Keene inside this prison as he warms up to Larry Hall and tries to become buddies with this monster. And the thing that's fascinating with Hall's character is he's a habitual confessor, so he confesses to things that he doesn't do, which is the genius of Larry Hall, because he's able to go do all these terrible things, and because he has 2 or 3 things that he's confessed to that he doesn't do, and he's a little bit of a simpleton. It's one of those where he's a twin and his brother fed off of him in the womb. So like his brother came out like very handsome, great in shape, athletic, all of these things, and Larry got whatever was left over basically. So when you see him, you don't think of this guy as a killer. And watching Jimmy Keene infiltrate this prison and warm up to this guy, like, there's the build to the reveal of the monster and how that impacts Keene is so well delivered and so well executed, both from the writing and the performances. And that's really the thing that makes this show tick, man. I mean, when it comes down to it, Dennis Lehane, who's your creator here on this series, I mean, him and his team of writers and directors just do a really, really excellent job of, one, establishing a vibe that is just cohesive all the way through, the look and feel inside the prison. I really like the color paletting. It's more of a blue, cool kind of color, which adds to the, you're in this place with all these insane people, and Keene runs into a bunch of different problems inside the prison. People that he, befriends, people that turn on him or try to use him for things. And the whole time, he has to kind of, like, you got to go into this maximum security prison with insane murderers. And you got to keep your cool, because anything that you do that tacks time onto your sentence, the feds ain't got nothing to do with that. They can just wipe what was originally sentenced to him. But anything that he does in here, he's got to serve that prison time in that prison. So the motivations for the character and the build of what Lehane has here is just really, really interesting. And the entire show, like the minute I pushed play, I was just fascinated by the story. And then you start to fall into these performances. And I'm telling you, man, get the Emmys ready, because Taron Egerton and Paul Walter Hauser are two unstoppable forces in this show, and on completely opposite ends of the spectrum, right? I mean, you're talking about two characters that are completely different from each other, and what's wonderful is watching Keene try to find things to make them more relatable to each other so that Hall will trust him and give him what Hall needs, or gives Keene what he needs so that he can get out of prison and get this guy. And it's one of the things that I love about Egerton's performance, we'll start there, is watching how he's broken down as a person. Where we see this kid, the ego, and it's not one of these things where he doesn't come off arrogant because he's so damn charming, but it's one of these things where it's like his ego, and because he's able to just always get out of situations, I do think it creates an arrogance. And watching him become humbled by going to prison, and specifically this prison, and being committed to the job, like as he starts to figure things out, he wants to get this guy as much as the feds do. And it's the thing that is redeemable about Keene as a character that allows you to enjoy Egerton's performance start to finish. And one of the first things I'm going to say is I almost went right to the Twitter world, because the first episode, I'm looking at Taron Egerton, I'm going, yo, my dude looks huge. And then he takes his shirt off, and I go, that's the biggest I've ever seen this dude. And just looking at him, I went immediately, as soon as I saw his size, how tall is he? Because he's kind of short. I believe he's 5'9". And that's like picture perfect height for Wolverine. And I was like, I have this genius idea. And then in my head I go, nah, if I have this idea, other people have had to have had this idea. And of course I went to the interwebs, and lo and behold, about a week earlier, Taron Egerton has a meeting with Marvel about Wolverine. I would be so unbelievably excited. One of these things about Taron Egerton that never made me think of Wolverine was that he wasn't big. And he got a little bit of mass on him. He could definitely get a little bit more. You get him to a more brolic size, which isn't too far from where he is right now. Dude, like, that is an adaptation and a star and an actor that I would love to see take that on. And a lot of because of what he does with Keene. Now, I'm not saying that Keene has a ton of Wolverine type elements to him, but watching him interact as an actor with all the different characters that he's kind of given here, I think it'd be really fun to watch him do Wolverine stuff. But I digress. We're talking about Egerton's performance as Keen, and yeah, besides the size, kind of going, whoa, man, Egerton leveled up. He, like I said, he's charming as hell, man, and the charisma and the charm really pay off for the character, because it's a real big beat and piece of that character. It's why he's in the jail in the first place, and how he's able to interact with everybody, from the feds to the guards to other inmates and Hall, is super impressive from Egerton start to finish, and really makes you care about this guy and wanting to see him get the bad guy and get out of there. And there are real stakes throughout the course of the whole season. Like I said, the fact that if he steps out of line and gets more time tacked on, he's going to have to serve it there. The motivations are present in the physical performance of Egerton the entire series. And as things start to dial up and the pressure is being put on in multiple places where it's like things could just go so badly, what Egerton's doing from a physical performance standpoint is unbelievable. And then when you get into his relationship with Hall and breaking down, trying to get the things that he needs, there are two moments in this show. One in the woodshop. They spend a lot of time in the woodshop. Hall likes to carve blackbirds, thus the name of the show. And what the blackbirds mean also plays into the name of the show. But they spend a lot of time there, and there's a sequence there that, like, the two of them are just electric. But what you're getting out of Egerton, you're just sitting there going, "It's unbelievable, man! Like this guy is not given enough credit, I think, sometimes as an actor." And then you get this second sequence where it's kind of him alone, trying to digest everything that just happened to him. It's some of the most powerful acting and performance-driven stuff I've ever seen from Egerton. And like I said, I mean, get the Emmys ready, because he's going to be a hardcore contender for lead actor. And then when it comes to supporting actor, I'm pretty sure you can just hand the damn thing to Paul Walter Hauser right now. This is a guy in Hollywood who does not get enough love. And yeah, he plays off characters or weird characters. He's becoming kind of like a Paul Dano, where it's like if you need a kind of weird, creepy guy, Paul Walter Hauser can 100% do that and do it better than most people. Paul Walter Hauser can also do other things besides that. I think Paul Walter Hauser is extremely talented. You want to see a non-creepy version of him, watch The Five Bloods. I love him in that. It's a super small role, but he pops. And he pops everywhere he goes. And I hope people watch this show, and I hope he wins an Emmy for this show so that more people will take notice of him and we can see him in more things, because his talent level, it's through the roof. I mean, from Richard Jewell to, like I said, that role in The Five Bloods to this, the guy has range and just so much raw passion and skill. I mean, he is quiet and very reserved and kind of talks in here all the time and seems confused, and every once in a while he'll snap in and be like, "No, Jimmy," and like the way he can control that rage and the monster that's inside makes you continually second guess whether or not he is the guy. And I love that element of the show, because he's built to be the guy, but the fact that he, from a performance, is able to make you second guess that at times is very effective for the storytelling that they're doing. And then, very much like we talked about Egerton in those two scenes, there's a couple scenes for Hauser, but in particular, that scene in the woodshop. It's one of the most tense scenes. It's one of the most perfect pieces of the show, where like everything is just operating at full stop. Like, it's just the directing, the writing, the scoring, the acting, everything that's going on. The visual look is just perfect. And the way Hauser ends that sequence, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this might be a little vulgar, but I almost shit myself. Like, it is terrifying. And you come to find out after the show airs, and Hauser's interviewed, that piece was not on the paper. And that's what I'm talking about when you talk about the talent of Paul Walter Hauser. That moment is the thing that seals the whole show, man. It is it is the thing that just makes everything lock into exactly where it needs to be, specifically in the finale. And it's the thing that's gonna hopefully win him the Emmy. And it's all him. It's not even on the page. It's just the commitment to the character and to the performance, and it's disturbing, man. Like I said, I mean, you're gonna be very uneasy a lot of times in this show, and the way all of that plays, specifically with these two characters, is just wonderful. Now, there are some supporting characters here. Greg Kinnear and Sepida Moafi, who play the kind of two main detectives. Really great stuff. I love Kinnear anytime he pops up in anything, and Moafi is really, really striking and engaging on screen. Not someone that I'm familiar with, but her chemistry with Egerton in particular, and some of the moments that she and Kinnear both get with Hauser, just really, really good stuff. But the one other big standout, and man, it's tough, because it's Ray Liotta playing Taron Egerton's dad, and you get in this situation where after everything's done, Liotta ends up passing this year, which is, unbelievably tragic. And then you hear Egerton going, I had no idea that there was anything wrong with him. His character has a stroke and is kind of sick in the show, so Ray doesn't look great. And I'm sure for anybody that was on set and anybody that saw the show before Ray passed, before it was released, probably was just like, damn, Ray Liotta is seriously committed to what's going on here. And then you see what happens and you go, oh my god, no, Ray Liotta, he doesn't look good, and it's hard. That being said, the performance that you get from that man is just as iconic as anything he's ever done. It's small, but it's so impactful, and the moments that he has are very gut check punch, moments, and he delivers it so brilliantly. And then when you know that he's going through physical health problems while portraying someone who's going through physical health problems, it's hard not to get through some of those scenes without tears. He's brilliant. I mean, always was, an absolute legend when it comes to the world of acting. And his final performance, it's a legendary, supporting performance. He really crushed. It's one of those things where if he hadn't passed, I think everybody would be talking about, man, dude, Ray Liotta, look out. Whatever he gets next is going to be big. And it's tragic that he's not here anymore, but I'm very glad that his final performance is something this impactful and this, just man at the top of his craft. But, yeah, man, I mean, when you talk directing, writing, scoring, acting, everything across the board in this one works. So let's get the C-Maniacs up. I don't think, very similarly, we just talked about Miss Marvel. I don't think every episode was a 5, but there's enough of them that would be, and the overall story and vibe of the show. I mean, like I said, what we get from Egerton and Paul Walter Hauser, you're looking at potential Emmy winners in both of them. All of the performances around them are really great, with the emotional one of Ray Liotta, and what Dennis Lehane, his team developed from a story, an adaptation of this real-world story, and how they build the tension and how they tell the story really creates a continual upward build. And when you can get all those things together, I mean, it's everything that I look for in television, and with two, knock your socks off performances like these, this is a 5 out of 5 for the C-Man. I know I throw the 5s around a lot, but I love what I love, and I love me some Blackbird, man. And what's great, I love when I see something and love it so much, and then I tell my friends or my family, and they start watching, and everybody's like, it's one of the best shows of the year. I love when I get that feedback from people when I tell them those things. So yeah, that's where I'm at, man. This is one of the best shows I think of the year, and certainly in the performance spot, there's some gold coming, I think, for these guys, or at least nominations. I don't think it's this Emmy cycle because those nominations are already out, so it would have to be next year's cycle, which will be tough because it's early in the year, but I mean, these guys are powerhouses, and I loved this show. So that's it. That's all we gotta say about Blackbird, which means now it's your turn. What'd you think? Have you watched Blackbird? Did you love it? How enamored with the performances were you? Did you have a coming-to-life moment as a comic book fan, if you're a comic book fan, where you went, holy shit, Taron Egerton could be Wolverine, and now it might happen, and that makes me really excited. What'd you think of the two performances? What'd you think of the overall story? The pacing? It's a little bit of a slow burn, but I think it works in the packaging that it is put in. And like I said, the last two episodes, man, I mean, you are just edge of your seat television. So let me know if that stuff was working for you. If you haven't watched it, have we enticed you? Do you want to check this thing out? Anything that you guys have, really, good, bad, indifferent, on Blackbird, down below in the comments section. I look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out and see me anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions. You just want to show a little love and support. Hey, we got an ever-growing community over here. Been getting a lot of love, a lot of interaction, which I love. And if you want to get involved in that or just show a little love to this old crazy nerd, well then, hey, why don't you come join CManiac Nation? It's super easy, and I think we have a good time over here. And you can do that by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, with the C-Man, Cinema Sit Down. I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace! Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.